Hello Orchid friends, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time watching my video, my channel is all about orchids. From what orchids I have, how I grow them, my thoughts on certain orchid topics, to what orchids in my collection are blooming, etc. So if you want to follow along my orchid hobby adventure, please consider subscribing to my channel and turn on the notification. It's Keiki time! I want to use this video to give you an update on one of the Keikis I have in my collection and see how it's doing. And also for those of you who are watching my video for the very first time, I'm gonna go back in time to show you how this orchid or how this Keiki came about. And for those of you who watched that video, let's just do a quick refresher so that way we can talk about some of the care and also how it has done, how it has progressed. So back in 2018, end of February, it was growing some new roots, but then it was also retiring one of its older leaves. So that bottom leaf was yellowing. That was quite normal. It took its sweet time. It was not yellowing quickly, so it was fine. And then it was growing a Keiki, this orchid. This is a white Phal. And then in April, this Keiki actually bloomed. So it was really interesting for me to see. And I guess it was because this Keiki is still attached to the mother. So with the right condition, this Keiki just sort of had a little bit of push to bloom, I guess. But then end of May, blooms were out, they were done, so I went ahead and cut off the flower spike. But then after that, it took this Keiki, 4 months, to do anything. So end of September 2018, that was when it started to grow roots. And then fast forward, May 2019, this Keiki was growing a few more leaves, and then it was definitely elongating its roots. So in general, if you want to remove a Keiki, I think most people would agree that it would need to have at least 3 leaves and 3 roots, and these roots will all have to be probably like around 3 inches or longer to ensure that the roots are old enough to and have enough root system to be able to start taking water and nutrients. Otherwise, you really should just leave the baby on the mother plant, because if the baby is still attached, it's safer and easier for the Keiki, for the orchid baby, to get nutrients from mother. Otherwise, you may kill it. And for me personally, I kept this Keiki on the mother, on the flower spike, because number one, I know I am not great with Keiki because it requires a lot more moisture, and sometimes if you don't have a good balance of moisture and ventilation, the roots will rot. Number two, I don't want to use extra space for the same type of orchid. I know I have orchids that are fragrant, and I have a couple of them, but that's because it's a fragrant Phal. But this one is just a regular white Phalaenopsis orchid, so I don't find it particularly interesting or that special. I mean, it's still good when it blooms, but I want to conserve space for other orchids, so I don't want to clip this one off and put it into another pot. It'll just take up some space. But anyway, during spring cleaning, I took out this orchid completely, washed the cup, trim off some dead root tissues, and then I put it back in. So fast forward, right? Mid-May 2019, this is the root that was growing. And I increased the water level slightly because I want those 2 Keiki roots to start getting used to the high moisture environment inside the cup. I typically only keep water
maybe half an inch, at the very bottom, because this orchid has roots at the bottom of the cup. I really don't need to have 1/3 of the roots submerged in water. I think that's a good general rule of thumb for water culture orchids, but because this orchid has enough roots at the bottom, reaching the bottom, I really only give it 1/4 cup of water every single time, and that 1/4 cup really is just about maybe half an inch, if that, at the bottom of the cup. And what I'm about to say is probably somewhat controversial, because some people really like to remove keikis and have a separate plant to grow. For me, I don't like that. And like I said, I want to conserve space. That's number one. Number two is I want this baby to continue to grow larger, being part of the mother, being attached to the mother, because it's easier to absorb nutrients or have the mother transfer nutrients through the flower spike to this baby. But another reason is I believe having this keiki attached to the mother plant would help this keiki grow better because of nutrients, but then it's also a safer way because I don't know how to take care of it. If I kill it, it would just be a very sad thing, right? I personally don't love keiki because it also requires, to me, the return on investment, the ROI is not that great. Some people I know, because of budget reason, they usually want to pay less for something that's near mature size plant. But sometimes the seller would tell you, oh, it would take 2 to 3 years before reaching mature size. Look, that 2 to 3 years, if you don't know what you're doing before this orchid would even bloom, it's dead, right? So for me, when I buy plants, I prefer mature size plant. But obviously, I already had the mother, and this mother pushed out a baby, and since it's already in my possession, I would try my best to take good care of it. But if, for example, if I have a choice between, maybe $15, $20 for a keiki versus a $35 mature plant, I recommend you get the mature plant because you may be able to see flowers much, much quicker. That's my opinion. Okay, fast forward. September 2019. This keiki has grown quite a bit, right? One of the latest leaf is already so long. I think it's like 5 or 6 inches, and it's still working on a new leaf in the middle, and the third root is already about halfway. It's just about to, halfway. So it has another halfway to go before reaching the bottom of the cup. But I think I'm gonna try my best to train it so that it would also grow directly into the cup, just like the other 2 long roots. And if that's the case, if the keiki roots can also reach the bottom, that would just be great. And I would just continue to keep this keiki on this flower spike for as long as I can. There would be a situation where I may remove the keiki, and that is if I see that the baby is killing the mother. For example, if the mother is in distress because the baby is requiring too much nutrients, which I don't believe so, because if it has roots in the cup as well, and if the water level is high enough for, if I put fertilizer in there, both the mother and the kid would get the nutrients at the same time. But if the mother is somehow in distress, then I would then have to remove the baby, clip it off. But for now, everything looks pretty good, so I think I'm just gonna keep it there. So this is what it looks like now. The cup is getting a little dirty again, so at some point I may have to take this one out and scrub the cup a little bit more. And real quick, in terms of care, quarter strength fertilizer as usual, and then I give this orchid only 1/4 cup of water each time, and usually that takes about 4 or 5 days to dry out. So that's definitely within that weekly water cycle, the wet dry cycle that I like to see in my collection. So overall, it's doing good, and I will keep you posted if anything new develops for this Keiki.
This is all I have for you today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to get more orchid related videos from my channel, please subscribe and turn on the notification. I want to wish you happy growing, and I will talk to you in my next video. Ciao!